Oh, I
Hello,
love it.
hello, everyone. Welcome to Money, Sex, and God. I'm your host, Genevieve. I'm so happy to be here again with you every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you're watching the replay, make sure to hashtag replay. Let us know. We want to know who's here. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know how you're feeling tonight. This is going to be a really juicy conversation. I can already feel it. I'm already ready. But before we dive in, I want to remind you guys that we only have 7 days left before the start of the Self-Pleasure Challenge. We're about to jump right in. And everything that we talk about on this live is going to be supported in the Self-Pleasure Challenge. So you'll get the embodiment of all these principles and all these concepts in your system. So if you're not yet in there, we've got almost 2,000 people. We're super excited to launch on Monday. Make sure to get yourself in there. It's my free gift to you, and I'll post the link below. But before I play there, I am so excited to introduce someone that I haven't seen in a while. I was just saying how much I missed him, and I'm so happy that we get to chat again. It's been a long time. Like the most incredible human, in that we're going to talk truth tonight. We're going to talk what's really going on in the world. We're going to go into how do we create a new paradigm of reality, right? In our crisis that we're in, creating the cash flow that is needed to actually make a difference as leaders, right? Co-create a new way of living. And then how to be in sovereignty versus compliance, right? To the man, to the one that's holding us down, right? Whatever that means. So, but I'm so excited to dive in with you because I know you're going to tell it like it is. Like, I just know this about you. So can you give us a little bit of a bio first, just so people understand like how incredible you are as a human and what you've achieved already and created for yourself in this lifetime?
Yeah, I think, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. I adore you. I really do. And I don't say that lightly because I do get often asked to be on podcasts and summits and whatever. And I committed a long time ago that if they're not on that powerhouse level, if they're not movers, shakers, world changers, I'm just not interested. So to be with you, it's such an honor. I really appreciate it. And we have so much fun when we're together.
We do.
It's like work and play. It's like this, sensual experience. I love it. So thank you so much for allowing the playing field to be here. So there's that. Thank you for everyone listening, watching, replay, live, whatever medium. We adore you. We, anytime that you have an opportunity to connect with us, we appreciate that at the highest level. So thank you so much for that. But I would say, staying with the point of relevance. I mean, the shortened version of this, as much as possible, that can be had. I grew up, I was born into this existence, what I feel like very much like the human side of me, born in a single family home, raised in the projects. Sounds kind of like a rap song. It's not. And
it
don't want me
be.
to sing. It could be. It could be. I'm Jay-Z's cousin, right? So, grew up in that particular environment. So money became a very interesting thing to learn, to cultivate, to learn to love. Grew up in an extremely religious community and environment, mostly Christian side of things. And I grew up learning the value of certain things like money, learning the value of spirituality and tapping into your source, tapping into your own internal power source. Absolutely. But, ended up doing everything that I was supposed to do, talking about compliance, talking about doing what people expect. Yeah. Went to college, hated college. Although I spent some time in Germany, that was super fun. And then I kind of worked my way up, started doing the corporate ladder thing, which many people do and are likely still doing right now. And, started getting jobs. And gosh, I feel like I'm very Renaissance in this neck of the woods. I have done artist management. I've done business consulting. I've done consulting when it comes to mergers and acquisitions of multi-million-dollar companies. The last company I was working with on the corporate side, we were working with taking them going public. So it's most of my background is also in restaurant industry. Used to work at McDonald's. So if you've been at McDonald's, then shout out, hey, I made good money there. and and I had my own restaurant at one time. And
Aw.
interesting enough, yeah, it was a wing restaurant. It's a little stereotypical, but
No,
it
it's
was people just love wings. I mean,
awesome.
it's a thing, right? And the last when I had the restaurant, that was in 2008, and so for many people that were in some level of consciousness during that time, that was when we hit the last crisis, the last recession, so to speak. And I didn't know then what I do know now. And the experience on this end in 2020, at the time of recording this, completely different spectrum. At that time, we lost everything. We lost the restaurant. We lost 3 cars. We lost 2 houses. We lost several bank accounts, several hundreds of thousands of dollars, and had to start over. So I wanted to set that as a precedent because, I know like my story is not uncommon to many people that are either in challenging times now or they've been there before. And so I want to say that whatever gets said tonight is from a place of challenging you to think differently. It's from a place of empathy, but strongly encouraging you that your story can be different now and for the future. Most people know me by Prophet, and that is it's an archetype, it's an avatar, it's an identity of who I am. And the long and short of that is I really help people see beyond this present space for them. And to me, I call that destiny. It's the discovery of the soul, as it were. But ultimately, I am a firm believer that everyone here, no matter how it feels now, has a purpose, has a destiny, has a calling. Your ethical responsibility is to figure that out and to do it with all of your might. So that's me in a nutshell. So if you're here trying to find direction and clarity and, build up yourself so you can live your ultimate life, you're in the right place today.
What a beautiful story. I love that you had a wing restaurant. I did not know this about you, and it just makes me love you even more. It's a beautiful.
Yeah. And I love that restaurant. I was also in band camp too. I played saxophone and I was drum major. So I don't know.
Boom. You just jack of all trades. Today. Listen, you're just getting all. I love it. So I heard you say, and I totally agree with you, right? Because I've totally changed my life over too. There was a time when I was homeless. There was, now like not at all homeless, right? I got housekeepers. Right. I got people doing shit, right? Like I got a team.
Right.
Very different story. And I can just hear the little voices in the people's minds when you said that you can change your life and you can create the future you want. And the other part that you said about fulfilling your destiny and living your destiny. And I can already hear their little minds going, but what about the money that I need to make that happen? Right? What about what if I want to go be, let's just make something crazy, like a professional harp player, right? And
sure.
And I don't have the money to be a professional harp player and go through the school and and do all the things. Then what, right? What would you say to someone that's in that spot where they're like, it can't happen because I don't have the money. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
My answer tends to be the same every single time. Money is the easiest thing to acquire.
Mm-hmm.
It is the easiest. It is the most free flowing ingredient that is here on the planet. Money is, and most people don't have a money problem, to be very clear. Most people don't. I would argue 99% of people don't have a money problem. They have a mindset problem. And most of the mindset comes from the community that you're around, the consciousness that you embody, and then the particular current that you flow in. In the right circle, in the right consciousness, with the right character, money does not become an issue anymore. And here's the challenge for that. Everyone that likes what I say about money is doing whatever they're doing now for money.
Right, they have money.
Everyone that hates me, which there inevitably is always a hater or someone that doesn't agree because they're in a hardship, etc. For those people, I say you're going to a job today or tomorrow for money. You're not going there to feel good. You're not going there to feel appreciated. You're not going there because you love your boss or your employees or your coworkers. You're going there for a dollar bill. and hopefully a lot of them. And so one of the things I like to really remind people that you're not tricking yourself into the space of, I call it like pseudo humility. There's no such thing as being divine and a God or in your own right and still being humble. And so that's a horrible programming that I grew up in that way. I sure did. Pride comes before a fall. You shouldn't think more highly of yourself than you are. Money is the root of all evil. And not to we're probably not going to go that deep into that conversation with the ideology around it. But the challenge is most of the issues that people have with money is not about money. It's how they think about money. Mm. And I sympathize because I used to be there.
Yeah, me too. I remember I used to hold onto it. Could you speak to that? Like I was a big holder. I would, whenever money would come in, I was like, "Ooh, I gotta keep this forever," and I would like try to save it all the time, right? And my experience, like, what do you think about people that do that, right? Like that, like penny pinching, holding situation. What do they need to breathe into their bodies?
It's the interesting thing about that, because I used to be there too. Uh-huh. And many people are there right now. Whenever you're hoarding or holding tight to money, it always comes from a space of scarcity and lack. You feel like you're never going to get it again. You feel like what you have right now is soon to go away. Mm-hmm. And again, not a money issue. It's a mindset issue. And it's also a responsibility issue. And this is where it's going to hurt when I say this for many people. If you have whatever little money that you have, or a lot of money that you have, and you're scared of leaving it, irresponsibility is somewhere in that archetype. It's somewhere in that environment, meaning you didn't do something previously to provide you security now. Mm. That's the problem. So many people will sidetrack that conversation, but that's the reality. If I'm in fear of losing it, it means I did not take my responsibility to secure it in the past, which is the thing you need to take care of. Which you should be relentless and obsessive when it comes to money. Mm-hmm. You should love money, contrary to a lot of ideologies around that. Money loves me. Money loves you. Right. Money is like any other experience, any other entity that's here on in the ethos, in the planet, that it desires to be used. Money if we look at money as a person, money wants to date. Money wants to be in companionship. Money wants to play. Money doesn't want to be at the club while everyone is dancing on the, holding up the wall. Nope. Money wants to be asked out to have fun on the dance floor.
And there's no way money's monogamous. Hell no. It's like a full, it's like, give me all the people. I want to go here. I want to go here. I want to go here.
Anyway, up, down, inside, and out. And people get confused by that. They're like, oh, I can only make money this way. Honey, money is polyamorous. Money does not discriminate. If you want to make money, slinging stuff in the streets, boo, I'm not here to judge you. Do it. Right. If you want to sling your body in the street, go do that. If you want to be that ballerina or dancer, if you want to, have a business and sell products, beloved, do that. But there's always a way. And the first step for people actually getting money is actually admitting, I want money and I want lots of it.
And I would guess too, just, me as the pleasure person. So that's where my brain goes, that having the ability to move out of shame around it, or like guilt or fear, right? And moving into like juicy, hot desire, pleasure. Like when I play with money, I'm like, ooh, like the bigger the conversation that I'm having around, I'm like, yeah. Let's talk about 6-figure deals. And like, let's go into it. It's fun for me, right? I get really turned on. Like my body, if you actually feel into your body, you think it's anxiety, but breathe a second, it's probably turn on.
Yeah.
Like what you're actually feeling is like, oh shit.
Yeah. Right? 100% I agree with you. And so when people start getting that experience and that ecstasy of money, it's very much like anything in the sensuality space, that you learn to explore your body, you learn to explore your spouse or spouses in that particular archetype, or just your friends having a party, depending on the experience.
Those are my friends. I was like, what are friends? I only have lovers. I actually don't understand what a friend is.
Yeah. Lovers, friends, I don't know, companions. But you start to, here's the problem. Most people aren't very good listeners when it comes to a lot of things, especially when it comes to money. If you listen and get still, money will start to talk. Money will speak. Your internal consciousness and confinement around money will also start to speak. Like one of the things that, again, grew up in a Christian side of things when I was younger, and this was every Sunday, every Wednesday, every Saturday for, choir practice. I mean, every Tuesday when we went somewhere for a revival, it was always in the consciousness, money, 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 and not necessarily in a productive or positive way. And so I also didn't have a well-rounded example of money. So what happens is when you don't have an experience of it on a continual level, you always come from a space of scarcity. So what happens, going back to your comment, it is a point of attraction and it's a point of excitement. It's like, oh, it's here. I kind of don't know what to do with it. It's very much like a new car. Like people get new cars, like, I don't want to drive it. I don't want to get miles on it. I don't want to get it dirty. Beloved, that's why car washes exist. Get money, spend money. That's why it exists. Money exists to be absorbed and appreciated and for you to be satisfied and then also shared. I argue that every recession that happens because a leader and an entrepreneur was irresponsible when it came to their business. And they were irresponsible when it came to building money. We go into recessions because of money. We come out of recessions because of money. So every time that I see a crisis happen, a recession happen, I always look at my entrepreneurs. I say, you are the only secret to getting out of this. You are Earth's best hope. And if you don't shift into thinking it, you're going to turn a recession from 4 months into 4 years. Stop being so humble. That humbleness is actually keeping people struggling today and always will be. It's just, you can do more with money. Despite the few instances where someone was a millionaire and they committed suicide and people say, well, money doesn't buy happiness. Well, you know what? Neither does poverty.
Right.
I've had both. So,
And my opinion is like, let's think about if, me, you, people in our field, right? I see us creating wealth, generating wealth. I see my clients coming in, your clients coming in, generating wealth, right? And ease and pleasure. What happens when all of us have more wealth than people that are not in ease, pleasure, love, right? Like what happens when that happens? The entire fucking world shifts. And also we can't be slow with it. Like the time is right now. Like what the fuck?
You've said the golden nugget for me there. And I'm telling you, I don't know how many times, call it my fiery Aries nature, with a little bit of Leo thrown in on the side, that oftentimes the success that people experience comes down to speed. Yeah. I am always telling people, like, you don't have time to process. You don't have time to perfect. You need to push forward. You can always go back and fine tune. You can always go back and figure it out. I don't even care if it's not your calling or something that you want to do for the rest of your life. Beloved, most people's passions are evolutionary anyway. They lead to another thing that exposes another thing. Very few people kind of come out of the womb and say, I knew I always wanted to be a singer. Okay, that happens. But sometimes you come at it from a roundabout way. You need to come at it from a place of what's your theme in life. Like, for instance, my theme has always been I'm a talker. In school, you get in trouble for talking too much. And with friends and community, you get in trouble because you're a know-it-all. I know how all of that conversation works, but it works very well in coaching, in consulting, in speaking, preaching, teaching, etc. I'm in my element here. Right. What I'm talking about is almost irrelevant. I can talk about money just as passionately as I can talk about spirits. It's literally the same conversation to me.
Yeah, it totally is.
So I used to be like, oh, I can only make money in spirituality. Well, to me, everything's spiritual. So whether I'm in a pulpit, whether I am in a coven or a club, which I guess they're closed now. Too bad. To me, this is the same conversation. I've not shifted. Yeah. It's all about getting people to understand where they are, identifying where they want to be, building a bridge that fills in that gap. That's it.
Literally it. Literally it. And if we all do that for each other, right? Because we're mirrors of each other, right?
Absolutely.
Like that's how we lift the world. Like people that are entrepreneurs in leaders, right? Like
Absolutely.
and I say this all the time, it's a service. Like
it is.
It's not about anything else. Like you're literally showing up and saying, I see the gap, boom. I see the gap, there it is, boom. Like how fucking great is that? That's amazing. Right. And I don't see my gaps all the time, right? That's why you have people see your gaps for
Correct. you. Correct. and you've got to be so obsessively confident in that endeavor that nothing distracts you from it. Nothing. I have people that talk crap about me on YouTube. They got YouTube channels about me now. That's funny. Websites. I'm on heretic lists now. That's kind of an honor. And people are like, well, how do you feel about that? I don't.
Right. Exactly.
That's their calling to criticize me. It's not my calling to critique their criticism against me. My calling is to help people push farther into their destiny. And quite honestly, beloved, if you're going to do that, you're going to need cash.
Right.
And there's just no way around it. Like you got to get out of, and here's the problem with this. Every crisis is a container. Mm-hmm. Every crisis is a container. And if you don't understand what the conversation is being had in that container, you're never going to get out of that confinement because it's not about money. I've yet to find anyone in 38 years of having this conversation. I've yet to find anyone that when they say, you know what, rich people are bad, the 1% are bad, whatever. The case is, well, then give me all of your money. If money's that bad, then quit your job. Go off grid, build a farm, and figure out how to do that without money. Mm-hmm. We can give all the excuses we want. We just need just enough. People that are not in their destiny and that have not fine-tuned their money wound are the only ones that say that.
You're right.
Because as soon as they fine-tune it and heal that money issue, that wealth wound, they don't say that. They understand what it's about. Mm-hmm. Wealth, riches, money is about me being able to tell my mom, hey, mom, let's retire you this year. Let me buy you a Mercedes that's out there in the parking lot right now. Mm-hmm. And if you just want to chill in your room all day long, that's cool.
Right.
But see, you can't do that if you're sitting there trying to be all humble and, I just want to have enough. Well, that's the most selfish thing I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. Because there's a homeless person on the street that will love your money.
Yep.
There's an employee that will love to make sure they get a paycheck every 2 weeks and take your money.
Right.
I could keep going on. You not wanting money is one of the most selfish things you can do that cripples this climate. That's your fault. Mm-hmm. Not yours, but that's anyone that's not owning into that.
Yeah.
That's just truth. Mm-hmm. So we've got to be able to come to a place that we understand for us individually, what's the motivating factor with me on money? And everyone's got different things. I love Best Buy. Love Best Buy.
That's your jam.
That's my jam. I love Oreo cookies. I love really nice wine.
Well, the Oreo cookies are like 99 cents, so you're all right.
I mean, you gotta do that. Here's what I also love. I love when people need something, I'm able to say, tell me what you want.
Yep.
Which one of those did you like? What's your address?
Mm-hmm.
We'll send it to you. Mm-hmm. I just sent one of, actually it was my husband's idea, but can't take credit for this. But one of the people in our community was here a little while ago to our house. And, he was like, you know what? I want to buy her a juicer. It's an Omega juicer. It's like a $500 juicer. Yeah. When you're poor, you can't do that.
Right. Right.
Even when you have money, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. Because that's where it's also a difference for like, you have money, you being rich, you being wealthy. Mm-hmm. Because if you're given it, but have to process it.
Yes.
You're still shackled by it.
Yes.
Money's
I totally hear you. I totally hear you. Yep. And then you can't, at least my experience is, I can't lift to the next level of impact. Right. At any time when I'm in, if I give money and then I've got shit, right. I'm not able to lift myself up to like, great, what can I serve that's even bigger? It's like getting out of your identification with the money itself, with you as the one that has the money in the fucking first place. Money's just around. Right. It's just fucking around. It's some sexy hot date at the sex party, and you just get to fuck with it, and then you go give it over there, and then you take some, and then you give it over there, and you take some. It's not like I own you, and then no, I won't give it. You know, right? There's a different energy, totally and different. That's the fun. Right? I don't know. I've never had fun just sitting there with one partner at a sex party, owning them the whole time. That's not fun, right? You might think it's fun because it's safer, but it's not fun. It's fun watching everyone have fun, right? And be in the joy and the pleasure and the love of it rather than contracting, right? Which is what I'm seeing. And I want to speak to this place right now because in our world, and I know you've got like a real high level view of it because you can see past what's here, right? You and I play up there all the time. I see you. Yes. Right? We're in this place of contraction because of crisis, right? And we're in this place where so many of us are dimming our lights out of compliance or out of places where we feel shackled, right?
Yeah.
So tell us more about where we are right now and what we need to do to get to the future, to create this future of wealth and pleasure and love and all the yums. What's your take on it?
You know, here's that's a wonderful, great question. One, I am a firm believer, and again, call it my calling and my distinction. We're never in darkness.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
We're never in darkness. Like even this right here, this is not a surprise. You know, here's the funny thing. I did a prophetic forecast for 2020. What was it? October or November of 2019, last year. And I talked about these very things. Now, here's the funny thing. I'm prophet. I should know very clearly like what all of this means. It was extremely cryptic for me in some cases. So as Spirit was giving it to me and I was doing the recording, I was like, shit, this is the most depressing crap coming forth this year. I've never, ever given a reading like that. And I've done those for the last couple of years. Mm. I still put it out there because I stand by what I say. Mm-hmm. And after it was said and done, I was like, wow, it made no sense. It literally didn't. I'm like, we put this out in like December or November of last year. I'm like, wow, what happened? I don't know. And I kind of ignored it. Mm. And then what happened was 2020 happened. Mm-hmm. And then I got invited to be on ABC News, and I did a very brief one. I gave them the very, what people want to hear, but I also gave them very much how I felt about it. So when they asked, how do you feel about 2020? Love 2020. Mm-hmm. Love it. Not denying what's happening, but I'm also very clear. I don't like repeat conversations. I already said how I felt 2020 was going to go. And I went down talking about the virus, the whole 9 yards, and cyber stuff, and elections, and a whole bunch of other stuff, all of which we're experiencing now, or most of it we're experiencing. Some stuff still to come. So I say that is that none of us is in a void that we are not giving insight into our life. Yeah. Great example. Anyone struggling with money right now, you have a inside and a front row view of what tomorrow holds for you. Mm-hmm. Unless you make a different decision. Mm-hmm. Look at the history of your family. It's probably giving you some indicators. If you don't shift something, what the next 5 years, 10 years may be for you. If we don't come from a place of honesty and just radical responsibility, we stay in the same rut. Mm-hmm. Whether the crisis is global, whether the crisis is personal, to me, it always comes back to strong discernment of knowing what you're up against, where you want to go, and then the decision to make that happen. So for instance, and you've got to know what motivates you. Me, I'm an extreme control freak. I own that. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
That's who you are. Done.
Yeah. How that translates with money is when I don't have money, I am not in control. I am being controlled. Mm-hmm. So it's actually very little to do with me having cash. It has to do with I like being in control. Mm-hmm. I also don't like saying I can't afford something. Mm-hmm. or maybe next month.
Mm-hmm.
Call it pride, call it ego, but the people I'm giving stuff to, they love it. So it's still a benefit. It's a win-win for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You got to find that motivating factor. I am a firm believer that sometimes you got to go to a higher dimension and think, what is the one thing holding me back? And if people were honest, probably the major thing or top 3 things is money.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I not fully in my calling? Why am I not really that strong life coach? Why am I not that messenger? Why am I not showing up on social media as much? Why am I not, speaking my truth? Money.
Mm-hmm.
Money amplifies, money exposes, money legitimizes.
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely does.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand that. And that's just reality. Sometimes people fight the wrong battle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like me. I'm a Black man with Black people with a history in the United States. Me showing up anywhere at the bank. Me showing up at the bank with jeans, unless you're Jay-Z, you're probably going to be profiled in a certain way.
Right.
Jay-Z has earned the right to be who Jay-Z is.
Mm.
Or Kanye West or whoever else.
Mm-hmm.
I show up, you know what? I need to show up in a suit.
Mm.
It reads different when I show up in a Mercedes that I paid cash for.
Mm-hmm.
It just reads differently.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing for you with your business. It reads different when you say, my clients pay me $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
It reads different than saying my clients pay me $200.
Yep. Yep.
And the interesting thing about that is if people are going to get through this crisis, they've got to be really clear and make fast decisions and not think twice about it. They've got to be in climates and in communities that wealth, riches, money is a normal conversation. It's a happy conversation. And the problem why people are still stuck, and we're in August. We're in August now. The year literally is almost over. If you're not making money, if you're not building your business, and you've had the whole year to do it, it was not the crisis. It was not coronavirus. It was not COVID-19. It was your consciousness. It was your commitment to who you are and what you want to do. Mm. That's the truth. Mm-hmm. Because the reality is most people didn't do it last year and we didn't have COVID-19.
Yeah. Now they just have something to blame, right? And
now there's something to blame. Oh, I can't do it now. Yeah. Beloved, it's like shooting like monkeys in a barrel. All the people you're trying to get, last year was arguing, well, people are working, people are busy. Well, nobody's busy now. Right. Fat and drunk, watching Netflix and drinking Jack Daniels at home while they're also watching Facebook.
Right. Yeah.
Take their money.
Yep.
And go have fun and do your life.
Yep. And become fearless in that pursuit, right? Because and I think this is what you and I think this is what supports us so much, is that you and I know who we are, right? Yeah. Which not everyone does. And I recognize that's an evolutionary journey for a lot of people, but we're saying Absolutely. On this, like, speed that up, like get to know yourself fast. Like, don't sit in I don't really know who I am. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. No. Speed it up, put that out there imperfectly, because it's going to serve humanity, right? If you like sit around and wait, right? Like your wing restaurant served a lot of fucking people, right? And you were a prophet there. You know, if you think
100%.
Do it. Exactly.
100%.
Right.
People have got to get a bigger picture in their head. Like I was teaching this in New Mind, which is my private community, where I get to play very freely. And I made this comment, which completely applies here. And one of the things I was talking to them about in teaching, I said, you've got to play a bigger game and you've got to expand why you're doing what you're doing. Most people that I come around have very temporary transformations. They have very temporary things that they're assigning to their transaction, which is a problem. Mm-hmm. If you're always attaching money to things that are temporary, you're going to always be in shortage. Money's going to come for that particular incentive or project. Mm-hmm. It's going to get used up. You have to replenish it again. You've got to expand it. Like I made the comment and I said, Jesus did no one justice with the people that he healed, because all those people eventually died.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the least helpful thing that he could have done. Now I know somebody go put another video up about me, and that's okay. But one, Jesus wasn't even the only one healing people at that time.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't even that special.
Uh-huh.
So one, it wasn't that special. People were doing it all the time. Three, those people are dead. They can't even live to tell the story. But what was the one thing that they did very great, assuming that we believe Jesus exists and assuming that those stories are somehow true? Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'll still work with the story. They documented, they expanded. It wasn't necessarily about that particular person. It was about the ability to heal. Not that I could heal. It was about the gift. It was about the power. And if you keep focusing in on this one little temporary thing, the money is going to run out at some point. And what's going to happen is you're going to start and stop. You've got to expand it to what's my mission? What's my calling? What is the thing that keeps people talking about me after I'm dead and it's 200 years past that point? What's that conversation?
Yeah, totally.
And if you can tap into that, money becomes this thing that is an extension far beyond your energy. The problem is most people that build businesses, well, I would even argue this, especially if they're in certain industries like coaching and consulting. I think a lot of coaches and consultants actually don't have a business. They have a really strong hobby that they make money off of.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Because when you have a business, it's very clear. Like I'm doing contract work right now. You know, we got roughly about a $40,000 project happening inside and another one that someone quoted us $100,000 for outside, you know, and we just moved here and it's a new house, brand new build anyway, but we're just doing some upgrades to it. Well, you know, the business owner, the contractor, they know exactly how much material costs are. They know exactly what their rate per hour, rate per project is. So even if I say, listen, my budget is X, right, they may be able to say, our time is our time.
Right.
Whether you get a $200 square foot tile or whether you get $2 a square foot tile, it's still going to take us 2 days. They understand the business of it. Many people right now, you got to understand your business. You nickel and diming, you trying to help people out temporarily,
right,
doesn't expand your mission. You're losing sight.
This is so key. I love that you're saying that. I love that.
You got to expand. You got to, like, for instance, all of my people that are messengers, that their calling is to speak. This is probably the best time. I can't explain how wonderful time this is, because what always happens in crisis is people, this is probably a little bit of magic, but we'll take it tonight because we're already here. What happens in crisis is reprogramming of consciousness. Every crisis.
100%. Look at all of the crises that have ever happened, right? Totally.
Every one of them. What happens is in every crisis, it pulls up and reminds people what has not been serving them. It brings up all of the triggers and the traumas. It brings up all the insufficiencies and all of the inadequacies. And it requires everyone to think again. So what people do in crisis is they start to build a different consciousness. So if you're a messenger or you're a speaker and you're not speaking, you're stupid. Listen, we can make it cute.
Right now, they're like, no, it's just dumb.
People trying to be cute, you're gonna stay poor. Let's just say what you're gonna be cute and you're not gonna make your cash. It doesn't mean that you don't care for people. It just means that let's just be honest. You got to talk about your business more than anything else. You got to tell people, like, listen, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. I'm the best option you have on this planet to get what you need. Yeah.
And why wouldn't you be? Because it's your assignment, right? Why wouldn't you? It's my assignment. Right? Like, I know I'm the orgasm queen because that's what the fuck I've been doing since I came out of birth. Like, I get it, right? Yeah. Like, so I don't.
Orgasm is what got you here.
Right? Exactly. Like, I'm damn good at it, right? And that's not gonna falter, right? Right. And for anything I'm not good at, cool. Other people have other assignments. You hire them, they go do that, and then you live your life in pleasure. It's easy as hell, right? That concept.
It's just that easy.
Yeah, it really is.
here's the attachment. Most people don't make money for, I call it negative ego. I actually really love ego. So people that have heard me talk about this, I love ego. To me, ego is just an extension of the pride and powerful divine energy of who you are. So I want people to be as egoic and prideful and confident as possible. Now, I do believe in polarity. So I think that there's, the yin and yang of it. I think you can have an ineffective form of ego. Mm. People trying to be humble about money is the most negative aspect of ego that there is. Mm-hmm. Someone needs you to be wealthy.
Yeah, right.
And every time that you do not present your business, your calling, your mission to someone, you are the direct thing that keeps them in struggle. Mm-hmm.
100%.
100%.
Mm-hmm. Totally. How many missed opportunities, right? By staying silent, like get up and do the thing. Yeah, totally.
Do the thing.
Yeah, totally.
And I don't know how many times and you get to a point that you don't agonize when people don't do it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't deter you from it. Like a great example. I have a thing, I have businesses. I have $10,000, $100,000 packages, as well as I know you do.
Yeah.
I also have like $200 courses on money, etc.
Right.
I also have held events because I also do like the spiritual side of giving, which is say you should just give. You're not getting anything in return. You're just going to give it.
Yeah.
Most people are used to getting products and services. And it's bold for me to say, listen, you're going to give some money to me because I'm profit, and you're going to get some other stuff back in return. So one of our community members did that last month, and I said also attach it to a desire, a need, a want, whatever. And her want at the time was to sell out of her course, her program that she had launching last month. And it was also that she wanted to make a $10,000 a month. Well, I'm a big person about this or something better, which is usually like whatever you are striving for, like you need to increase it. You probably think it's too small.
Yeah.
So she sold her seed, didn't get one course, didn't get one program, didn't get one phone call from me. Literally just gave. I'm not gonna say how much she gave, but it was not $100. Right. And so we were on our live session this past Sunday, and she's like, "Oh, how did I forget? I almost forgot. Remember that $10,000 I wanted? I actually got 15,000 and sold out the program, and the other program I just launched afterward, it's almost sold out too. Life's good.
All right.
and I had her live while we were in New Mind. I said, talk to me just before I call it like a tribute, contribution, donation, whatever people want to call it. And I said, take me back to the moment that you thought about doing it. She says, it was crazy. I hated it.
Yeah.
I said, good. Talk to me about that.
Yeah.
She said, I had to work through it. I was anxious. It was like, well, I'm giving money. I'm not getting anything in return. And I said, keep going. She's like, and then what I did is I stopped. I paused. And again, I talk about this a lot in New Mind. And I believe, she didn't say this, but I believe she remembers something I said. That if what you have in your hand does not meet your need, what you have in your hand is your seed. It is meant to be invested into something bigger and greater than you to expand far beyond you.
Yep.
And this is one of the principles where people get really hung up and stay poor. Is they have this little bit of whatever it is in their pocket or in their bank account right now. And in their mind is, I got to hold it. And in my mind and in our world, I'm like, beloved, that's seed money.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you going to grow with it?
What are you going to grow with that?
Totally.
As someone that has radically done crazy stuff.
Crazy shit. Crazy ass shit. Listen.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm sure you do too. I love to know you. I stretch myself as often as I can consciously do. Yep. Like literally, I was sitting here one day. This was, what is this? About 2 months ago, I think. Was just sitting in the living room and no big thing. I may have been having a glass of wine. I don't know, just relaxing, probably online, talking to clients. I said, you know what? I want a Mercedes. Part A. Part B, I want a Mercedes. I want to pay cash for it. And I literally just, I went online. Where's the nearest Mercedes dealership? Went and found one, which is Ghost. I call her Ghost, my white car out there. And I found it and I called the Mercedes dealership. It's about 20 miles away. And I said, hey, there's a car here. Here's the VIN number. I'm going to come. Can you have that ready for me? I'll be there in about 30 minutes. I don't want to be there longer than an hour Get it ready. You give me keys, I give you check. That's how this works.
Right.
They said, okay, Mr. Witcher, we'll have it ready. I went there, literally, car's ready, in the front, clean to shine. I said, awesome, here's your check. What's the extended warranties and all that stuff? Because I know you're going to talk about it, and I want to do that too.
Right.
And here's your check. Goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah. That trust, right? Like that trust is the key, the big key that you are like, I have a desire, which I get when I'm self-pleasuring, right? I self-pleasure, a vision comes in, I go do that crazy shit. I just proposed to my partner like a few weeks ago, like totally out of the blue, right? Like, but it was like, I'm self-pleasuring. The next that I got to propose. And I was like, okay. So like, next thing I know, I'm calling all the whole family together. I'm getting everything ready. I'm figuring out a whole plan. I didn't sit and perseverate and think about it for weeks. No, why would I? You have the desire, you do the thing. Like that's right. That's like, you just follow it. And it was so much fun. And you do the same thing with money, right? It's the same every time. I've invested huge amounts in growing my business and my mission because I give a shit about it. Because our missions change the planet, and we know that, and everyone's mission does. Right.
Absolutely. And I did that simply because it was one, I could.
Right.
Two, wasn't going to hurt because of it. Right. Three, I worked off of my same principles. I said, I'm looking at property right now, several thousands of acres to build a spiritual community. That's not a secret. It's just something I don't talk about very often, but I'm looking at properties. Well, this little 5-figure check that I just wrote for this Mercedes doesn't cover the down payment for that property, much less paying for the property. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what will is me stretching my mind to say, I wrote a 5-figure check for this. And then 2 weeks later, I went back on the website, Mercedes website, and I said, oh, that's a really nice vehicle. Called my friend up at the dealership. He says, oh my gosh, we just lowered the price, like $20,000. I said, I will be there in about 30 minutes. Then I got another Mercedes. Why? Just because in 2008, at the last recession, I lost 2 cars. So as a FU to recession and as a FU to poverty, I went out and bought 2 brand new ones. Actually, we have 3 brand new cars, 4 in the driveway now. Yeah. Just because.
Right. Because it's
I did that
yummy.
as a symbolic, right.
Yeah.
And I did that as a symbolic gesture to say, whatever that cycle was, we just closed that cycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever that story, that narrative was, I promise you, we just paid cash to end that story. Mm-hmm. That's done. Mm-hmm. So the next journey, I want to be very, very clear in consciousness. I want to be clear with the universe. I want to be clear with everybody connected to me is cash only.
Yeah.
We don't process what we want to do.
Right.
It's a desire. You go do it. You go build it. No, my mother is not upset because we retired her and she's got a Mercedes out and she ain't upset about that. But how we got here was me handling my business. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And also ignoring all the other people that said, you shouldn't have money. Well, you know what? You're not going to be able to retire your mother.
Right.
You're going to stay in that apartment. You're going to be complaining and bitching 10 years later about all the rest of us that do have money. And that's cool. Mm-hmm. If that's your desire, I am not here to judge you on that.
Right. Right.
I also have very good boundaries to say, we don't do that over here.
All right. All right.
Because every conversation you have is something that you need. Mm-hmm. You need something from that conversation.
Yeah.
And most people that talk crap about money, it is them trying to convince themselves to feel better about a situation that they feel hopeless in. Mm-hmm. And I just won't entertain that. You're going to own that you're poor. You're going to own that you're broke. You're going to own that your business sucks. You're going to own that. Because as soon as you do, healing starts.
Yeah. And you're no longer the victim, right? Like now you can take the power back and start to create the reality that you desire. Right. So we got to wrap up, but I just want to let everyone know we're continuing this conversation on your channel, but I don't remember when it is.
Yeah.
But we are at some point soon. So
next
follow,
week,
I think it's sometime next week. So follow Calvin, make sure I put all the links in there. I never know. I got my people handle all the calendar. I never know what's going on.
I don't know. We're just going to hit play. I don't know.
We're just going to play. And for me, those of you watching, right, like the way that I played with money and really understood it is through sex and pleasure. Like that was my tool. Maybe that's what we talk about next week, right? Like that was my tool.
It's Wednesday. It's like 2 days from now.
Oh, fuck yeah. Awesome. On Wednesday, we'll go in there. We can play about that. And we can continue it, right? Because this is a really juicy conversation. I want to hear people's comments. I want to hear people's shares. Make sure to share this.
Yeah. Hey, everyone.
Yeah, let us know. And anything else you want to say to wrap. I'm so glad. This was such a, like, you know what I love about you? Like, you just, I mean, I know you don't give a shit, but like, it's shown that you don't give a shit and that you're just like, here's my mission. I'm going to do my thing, right? And I'm just going to say what's true. Like, I'm going to say what's actually honest. And that's so needed right now. So thank you for sharing that with my community. That's awesome.
You're welcome. And to be fair, I'm not saying anything I have not said to myself in the mirror.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like right now, my conversation to self in the mirror. This is a self conversation. Everyone else is just witnessing this.
Totally.
It's funny. I'm probably not even talking to anyone on this podcast. I'm talking to me.
Right.
Because in my mind, I'm thinking, you don't have money to pay cash for a jet.
Right. And you want a jet, right? So let's go.
Next level. You don't have enough money to pay $10 million for a property.
Right.
Shame on you.
Mm-hmm.
Level up.
Mm-hmm.
Stop thinking because you bought a Mercedes, somehow you've arrived. You suck. You can't hold a dime in a conversation to Grant Cardone or Gary Vee or these other multi-millionaires. What are you going to do if you're in a round table with Damon John? Grow the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't reached that level. You just graduated the last stage. It ain't that deep, boo. Speed up. I say that because everyone's like, oh my God, he's talking about me. He hurt my feelings. He's so arrogant. You know what? It's okay. Stay poor. That's fine. In the meantime, this is what we're doing over here. Because one thing I do, when I level up, everyone attached to me levels up too.
Yeah, totally.
All of my clients are rich. Mm-hmm. All of my clients' business have exploded during this time. Yeah. My community is making money. My community is healthy. And that's the only thing I care about.
Right. Right.
My family is doing well. Yep. And et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anything else that does not fit that distinction in my destiny, it's just, I'm unavailable for it.
Yeah, totally. I love it. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you exist on the planet. I love you to pieces. And you guys will continue this conversation Wednesday on Calvin's channel. In the meantime, check him out. Make sure to follow him. I posted all the links, and I'll see you all, everyone else, Monday for the Self Pleasure Challenge, so y'all can create some fucking money. Mwah. Bye, everyone. Love, love, love. Bye.
Love, love, love.